What is up, y'all? So, welcome back to the 5% podcast. Now, before we get started, I know Musashi and I want to give a shout out to our friends that hooked us up with some pre workouts. So, this one right here, super good. We want to give a shout out to our friends over at Valley Fitness Nutrition, y'all. Musashi, what do you know? What's your experience with Valley Fitness Nutrition?
I started my fitness journey seriously in 2017, and since then they have always been my go-to shop. The coolest thing about Valley Nutrition is they'll have everything you need, like the pre-workouts, like the high-end brands. So right now the popular brand is Rise, and they have the Rise. And then if there's a specific flavor you want, you could ask the owner, and he'll order it for you. The owner will be there from Monday to Friday, from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Sometimes he'll be there till 3 p.m. But right now, I think I see on this as an advertisement on TikTok a lot is Alpha Lions. So I'm gonna try to talk to him and see if he can get some Alpha Lions pre-workouts into the store. But yeah, another coolest thing about the pre-workouts at Valley Nutrition is that you could get one scoop of pre-workout for $2.
Oh,
So if
I
you're
love
trying to
that
go,
because you can try different stuff.
so if you're trying to go and have specific pre-workout you're curious of trying, but you don't want to buy a whole tub, you could ask for a scoop for $2.
Dang, that's lit. My favorite thing about Valley Fitness is the protein shakes they got there. They got like a live protein shake bar. So if you ever just want something after your workout, or even like get your pre-before workout, leave, go there, get your post-workout shake. Fire. So shout out to Valley Fitness Nutrition. Let's get into the podcast.
Tune in.
I know you ain't talking about controlling man. I know you ain't sitting here talking about. Let's start this podcast.
So how would you treat your significant other at the club?
Right or wrong? So wrong answers only. Anyway, y'all. This purple will clash as well with the pink.
Are we getting started? Okay.
I'm here for it.
All
right.
Me of like
Ah.
you're a kid.
You do not tell she's tiny.
You think I'm skinny? You think I'm skinny? All right, let's start it off. We doing ASMR for fruit rolls first.
ASMR.
Oh shit.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another segment of 5% Podcast. I'm Musashi.
Oh, I'm Cruz.
I'm Naomi.
I'm Sabrina.
We're going to do a little different today. I'm going to have the two girls take over the podcast.
It's
And
our turn today. Plus, it's our first podcast where we're all back together,
It's been
which
a
is
minute.
exciting.
work commitment issues.
Oh yeah, commitment issues. They're actually work commitment issues.
Bro, I saw that in the last podcast. I was watching the intro, and I hear Musashi saying, yeah, she has work commitment issues. I'm like, damn, bro, pick a struggle. Two?
Work and
Work and commitment, just airing my whole life.
I'm like, do they hear this?
Damn.
The...
Yeah.
Wait, what flavor did you guys get? I don't think I've ever had this flavor before.
I got berry.
Strawberry
flavors?
tea. I don't know what that means.
What is that same?
I don't know. I just took it from work.
Mine's net weight 0.75 ounces.
Is that how much you want to weigh?
0.75 ounces?
When you were born.
That's only 21 grams. Anyway, y'all. So, girls, what you got in store for us? I should say.
So I think Sabrina kind of wants to take this one over for the first part.
So, well, for starters, we haven't seen each other in a full minute. It's been
Mhm.
a month. Just wanted to see how's everyone doing. What you guys up to?
I am drowning in schoolwork.
Really?
Hurting on the inside.
A lot.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, how's your master's going though?
So this semester is probably going to be the hardest semester.
Really?
Yeah. Not hardest. It's just the workload.
Damn.
Like I have two classes I have to write papers on and stuff.
Mm.
One was a research paper and I didn't even just write it.
Mm.
I turned it. So what I learned in masters is turn in whatever you got. You're gonna get a grade out of it.
I felt that. Did you guys ever use that one hack? I don't know, at least for me personally, when I was going through undergrad, I know everyone's always like, oh my gosh, I have to type this paper, I have to do this. I literally would leave my papers probably 3 hours till they're due, and I would literally speak into my phone. And you know how when you can do the voice memos, I would literally write all my essays all my papers like that. And then my professors would be like, oh my gosh, it's I felt like you were talking to me. I was like, because I wasn't thinking, I just kept on talking, and anything that I had on there, I would revise it after and be like, okay, let me make this make sense.
In all honesty, so my semester, being a professor and a teacher, yeah, we don't read half that stuff. I'm gonna tell you right now, we skim those things. If you're turning in an essay, we skim it. If you're turning in a test, and it's fill in the blanks, we would just kind of glance over it, make sure it's about right. At least me. I know I talked to a lot of other teachers and professors that also work at Fresno State, do both. Yeah, pretty much like it. So that's your life hack. So if you're writing a paper, ensure you have a very strong introduction, a very strong conclusion, and make your body, make it look like it makes sense.
Make it look like you put in effort.
My best papers were turned in last minute though.
Yeah.
Like,
Under pressure.
do tomorrow was my mentality because my best stuff was like done under pressure. Like if I knew shit I need to make like this time, boom, I'd get it done.
Fucking what?
Oh, damn, it is sick.
I feel like it's also too, it's like when you're in that moment, like you're not thinking of like 5 million other things of like how could this paper like go better
This
or
was
whatever. You're like,
understood.
no, like this is what I know, and if that's it, like that's all you're gonna get.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, highly recommend y'all. Talk to your professors, talk to your teachers if you're struggling. We're people too. It looks bad on us if y'all fail.
Oh, I think my TikTok picked up on the podcast algorithm because my gym vlog's not pushing anymore, and
Really?
my podcasting's been
Big
pushing
sad.
kind of slowly.
We had some interesting podcasts though lately. We had the Toxic Boys podcast. And then what did we do last time? What would you call that?
Flowers.
The flower one's
The
going.
flower one was a good one.
I woke up and it was like 200 likes. I was like, oh shoot.
Yeah.
And then I posted my gym vlog. Man, 50 likes. I was like, bro.
Said zilch, no one liked it.
I'll find out tomorrow when I post it.
So that means we gotta say some out of pocket stuff today. Then.
No,
we are.
honestly, Loki, I saw your like most recent one, and I was gonna comment. I was like, man, just wait till like Joey Swole gets tagged onto your thing about like how you couldn't get a squat rack in like 45 minutes or something.
He said you gotta assert your dominance and get
And
the
be like,
spot
is your name on the gym? Do you own the gym?
right. Love that.
Well, besides that, guys, we can go ahead and get into our first topic. We've all known each other for like, I feel like I started getting closer to all of you guys within the past like year or so. Some of you guys know each other longer. But the question is, what was your first impression of each member?
That's good. That's
Okay, who
rich.
wants to start? Who wants to go first?
I could go. So I knew Cruz when he was in high school. It's my friend group. I was a recent high school graduate, but my closest friend was still in high school, so we still hung out. And then when I first met him, this guy was driving a smart car, bro.
Yeah.
And
Beep, beep.
I knew nothing of him. He was being funny and still being Cruz. Much smaller.
Yeah, like
More like finally hit puberty after high school, I think.
definitely.
But I was like, this guy's funny. And he's like, yeah, I'm a clown. That's my job. I was like, okay, the red nose guy.
Class Count Productions.
Yeah.
But after that, after he graduated and my friend graduated, they graduated the same year. So we kind of separated our ways, and then for some reason I ran into him in college again. And then here we are.
Happy anniversary.
And then for
No.
for Naomi, I don't really have like my first impression. I think like my first memory I could think of is like going to the beach during spring break, I think. Where we ice cruise in before the grapevine.
Oh my
yeah, I
god,
forgot
that one
about
was
that.
terrible.
That was a great time.
That was what a 40-ounce ice, I think. It wasn't
Right
like
before
the
the
average
grapevine?
one. It was like the fat one.
It was a mission to get that because you're trying to check everybody's ID.
There I was outside,
Yeah.
unsuspecting.
If you think about it, we could have got like a ticket for public intoxication.
But you know, we didn't.
I didn't think about it at the time. I just thought about that right now. I was like, damn, how many things did we get out of public intoxication wise?
Let's not talk about that because we're have to do a lot of editing. But anyway,
But my first impression of Sabrina is she joined a sorority, and she was like, I was like, damn, this girl's in it to be like in a sorority life, like party life and everything.
I was.
She really was. That was my first impression, but look where she's at now.
Oh god. Yeah.
Work commitment issues.
My work
Very
commitment issues.
wholesome.
I mean, yeah, when I joined, like, I'm not the same person I was when I joined, and, like, obviously no one is. But I think that's why I'm such a homebody now, because back then I was everywhere. I was at every freaking party, was staying up every night. There wasn't anything I wasn't at. And, like, I drained myself out of that because that was literally just, like, my life for, like, a couple months. And now I'm just like, ugh, it's too draining to be that person again.
I think it's good to like drain that out early on in college, because if you just drag it along, look where we're at.
good to see y'all. No, good to see
I was scared of Naomi, just for starters. I was scared of this girl. First, like, you are my boyfriend's college mom. You're as big.
Yeah.
And, I mean, look at her. This girl's, like, hella intimidating. If you don't know her, she's gonna give you the side eye and you're done.
She's
Like,
usually dressed hecka emo,
and
wearing
she-
like what's it called, the docs.
The first time I met her was, they were talking at the house one day. And I just remember telling Lethal, I was like, damn, I'm like hella intimidated. And he's like, you gotta meet her. Like, you know, you gotta, like, you know?
Mm-hmm.
We're sitting there, and he's faded, and he looks at Naomi, and he's like, hey, you know, she said she's intimidated by you? I was like, are you kidding me? Stands up, leaves. Leaves just room for me and Naomi. And I was like, oh, dude, that's not the best first impression. But we started talking. And I realized she's hella cool. We started hitting it at raves. And yeah, Cruz, I always knew he was hella chill. Like, I mean, like I said, I was always at parties, so he was always DJing. And then once I started hanging around the frat more often, I was like, hey, got the privilege to be on the DJ stand now. I'm just going to be back here chilling, bugging Cruz for a bit, telling him my requests.
She's gonna be like, play Bad Bunny.
I'm like,
Bad Bunny.
Kiss me more.
I was about to say, it was Doja Cat that you would never like share
I
from.
always had that sign. I was like, play Kiss me
It's
more.
a banger though, I ain't gonna lie.
It is.
Remember Icy Girl?
Oh my god, I missed that era.
That was a time to be alive. I remember I knew Cruz since we were like what, 12, 13.
So we were in prison and then.
Yeah, we did time together. But I just remember like Cruz was like very like outgoing and very outspoken. Like there was not a dull moment with Cruz, that's for sure.
Came out the womb like that.
Mm-hmm. Like full on clown, still a clown now.
Always a clown, but in a different way.
But yeah, so I always remember Cruz always being like that one person that was like super outgoing, super fun, like never really said no
Got
to
light up in my
anything.
face. I look like hella white, so I'm like.
I was like, she
We're
came
not
back.
smelling each other.
She came back for like Florida, Virginia, like saluting
I
her
was
sister.
in DC.
Oh.
Wait, that's Virginia.
Wait, did they say anything about the Queen over there? No.
I mean,
R.I.P.
there's Capitol, there's the whole Capitol and everything. Their flags are made like midway. That's about it though. I mean,
The Queen.
the Queen.
Beans and toast. But for Musashi, I just remember like, cause Musashi is my little, so I remember Jekko would always talk to me about you, and it's like, oh, you have to take him as little. You have to take him as little. He's really cool. And I met you. You were cool. But you were cool.
Time to leave.
You were cool in a way where I was like, oh, okay, that's so dope. And then I met Drunk You, and then that's when it was like set in stone. Where I was like, you know what? I do want to take him as a little. Like that was the real one where I was like, you were a handful, but you were more of like that fun handful where it was like, oh, like this is like it's never gonna be like
pizza
a boring
boxes
time.
and.
You'll never see that anymore.
Times passed out on the couch.
We
fighting
saw it at
outside.
Diora. What are you talking about?
Oh yeah.
This guy
That's
was
true.
like messaging all of us in the group chat saying, "Yeah, I got what was it, Henny?
No.
carrying?
So Alexi said it was a Jaeger because it was $18.
Jaeger, yeah.
It's not a bad deal.
This dude's messaging us saying he's got the Jaeger. I had a beatbox. I was gonna share whatever was left, and like he's waiting in line. We get in the venue and he's faded. Like
I was blacked out by
as soon
then.
as we find him,
Yeah.
like in the crowd, this guy's balled up on the floor, going, "I can't do this. I cannot do this." And I'm like, dude, like the
And-
guy that you wanted to see is going on. He's like, "I can't do this." They had to carry him out of the venue.
And says the one that's always like, whenever I go to events, I'm gonna be sober. I'm not doing anything. I'm gonna be like.
That's
this
probably.
this time."
I
The
probably should go
narrator
sober.
said, nope.
Lies.
I should
It's
probably
like
go sober now.
It should be like that little like what is it, that CD scratcher? It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
you're probably wondering how I got here.
We gotta make that edit. But that's funny. So I guess that leaves me, huh?
Oh no,
So-
wait, I still talk about Sabrina.
Oh,
Oh, I thought. Oh, she
'Cause
said
this
you. She
still-
said you.
this-
She
So
said you.
this still stems off of the first time when she met me.
She was intimidated.
So Lito had obviously ran off, and I knew that he had a girlfriend. I just didn't know who. And then once I realized it was Sabrina, I was like, "Oh hi!" Like I'm Naomi. Like I had to introduce
Naomi
myself.
said you owe
to
me some
her.
chickens and some goats. I ain't,
I want a couple. I still want a couple bucks now for taking my little thank you.
he's a rapper.
But I remember like meeting her, and she was so sweet, like super innocent. Like I was like, oh my god, she's perfect. Like she's super nice and everything. Like I could not, even till this day, I still don't have like any bad type of feeling towards Sabrina. Like she's so sweet, super genuine. Like I love her so much.
Oh, I love you.
Aw.
Honestly, me and Naomi obviously met through Lethal, like, as he's big, but we got super close.
Yeah.
Like, anytime we see each other, like, at raves or anything, obviously, like, we run to each other. And then, Coachella, I feel like that's when we got, like, I got really close to all of you guys. I mean, festivals bring everyone together, but, like, it's just cool having that, like, click to know that, like, we all had different connections, but we met, like, one way or another.
Well, honestly, living in the desert for like 5 days together
Mm.
does something too.
It does.
You appreciate life a little bit more. I appreciate bathrooms more.
Forgot there's a civilization outside of that.
Showers.
Literally.
Showers.
Dude, imagine
Jesus.
doing Burning Man.
The heck is that?
It's
Dude, that's been on my
it's,
For You
it's
page
another
for the
Coachella
past
now.
week.
I feel like it's like
Yeah,
it's
it
sorted
is.
out. But I'm down though. No, no.
I'm still down though.
Sure. Let's see. What should I start with? So Sabrina's the one I met the most recent. It was probably like pre-COVID, I think. slightly pre-COVID. And then, yeah, she was always down and stuff. I was like, oh, Sabrina's a vibe. She's the homie. So I took her as a little in Greek life. So that was fun. Then, I guess before her, I met Musashi in high school. Now, I was confused because I was a senior, and I'm like, why is this dude hanging out with us? Like, why is he already graduated buying us Dutch, man? Yeah, it was kind of, you thought it was weird at first, but nah, he's one of the coolest dudes, always down for everything. Yeah, so that's why I started hanging out with him, right? And then freaking Naomi over here. So 7th grade, and the emo stages were in full force. All right, now hear me out. She had the bangs straightened. She had the Hot Topic. I don't know how she got a uniform from Hot Topic.
Dude, I really made it. Like,
Yeah.
skinny jean, what? Khaki pants?
Yep, skinny jean khakis, black polo, and she made our uniform emo, and I didn't know that was possible.
Mhm.
I was like, why are they screaming over here? Why are they headbanging at lunch? What's going on, y'all?
Fuck.
So that's why I've been out. But yeah, no, all these people are down. So, I mean, what it's been?
Yeah.
So what I've known you for like
Since 7th grade.
so 2010, probably like 12 years.
Wow.
That's wild.
A whole decade.
I've known Musashi for like what 7 or 6 or 7. So.
Has it been that long?
Yeah, it's 2016
Oh, shoot.
or 2015 technically. Yeah, it's 7 years. So here we are, y'all,
Yep.
and this is the 5%.
I do want to know though. So like Cruz, I am his little. I had to like mention it to him. So get this. I didn't know Cruz was gonna ask me. So he was meant to ask me right before COVID. I didn't know this. One day I'm with my big, we're getting drinks, and we're having this whole conversation about like how I love her, how she's my only big, and this girl goes, I actually got something crazy to tell you. You were gonna have a boy big, and I'm like, girl, what?
Yeah, I had asked Lynette. I had a whole like thing planned, and then COVID.
It literally was the party right
Yeah.
before COVID.
Yeah, right
like
before COVID.
literally,
Mhm.
COVID hit, boom, right then.
Mm.
And this dude was just gonna give up. Like when she told
I was
me,
like,
he's
it's an omen. No,
like, it's a
it is the
sign.
universe.
He's like,
This
you know,
whole
maybe it's the
pandemic.
universe.
Maybe she's really fake.
I
No, I think she's really
It
fake.
is. No, I literally went as far as hitting as I'm with her, I was like, Cruz would be hella cool as a big. Grab my phone and I'd message him. And I was like, so you were gonna ask me to be your little?
I gotta think. I'm like, oh dang, that's wild.
I was like, oh, this dude's. I'm like,
That's
okay, there's 2
crazy.
outcomes that can come from this. One, he goes, oh yeah, that's crazy, or I come out with a big.
What if I was like different Sabrina?
Yeah, no, I asked Lynette and I said JK, I was April Fools.
Wrong bitch.
I said, whose number? New phone.
Oh, God. It was on Snap.
New phone. So that's how I got my little, or my second little. I got like second girl little. I
This
got
guy's
like
got so
got like
many
4
freaking
kids.
girls.
That's why I work like 4
Single dad.
jobs.
Hella baby mama.
This man has money.
And
But that EBT card?
EBT.
I should apply for that.
Hey, you should. You should.
I did at work.
I will go to Costco.
After I moved into a new house, I was like, yo, I need to apply for UBT again.
Ah, gotta love it. Thank you, government. And those
I
student
take
loans
housewarming
forgiven.
gifts. I need fucking shower mats, bro.
You have a shower mat?
I need a shower
That's how I
mats.
can swim. No.
I need couch.
Towel down.
Yeah, towel.
Put a towel down. He said, I need curtains. Put a blanket up.
A lot of things needed. I need couches.
The
Use the
foil
wet
on the
towels,
windows.
Grandma.
Oh, God.
That was funny. All right, so we got the backstories now. What else y'all ladies got planned for us?
I don't know. Like,
I'm scared.
You guys had like a whole week or a couple days.
You
So
saw
I'm
the
trying
messages, we
to
forgot.
make this sound interesting.
Oh, okay. You
But-
got to build the tension.
Oh,
but also,
my bad.
to stem off of that. So, what's like the most pettiest thing you've done to a person?
Ooh, I feel like I got one.
I need an example.
I can't think.
What do you mean an
There's a
example?
lot.
I'm not a petty person.
Okay.
Why you look like that?
Mm, what is the pettiest thing? So I think my personal thing I do is that I will set you, if you're lying to me, I will set you up so you have to admit that you're lying. So one time, stems back to the fraternity days, there was a brother that was storing things in a room he wasn't supposed to. Because, you pay rent for your room. He was using the next room as a storage room. We're like, yo, dude, like, that's not fair to everybody else. Like, we all got a heck of shit we need to store. Like, we're not just going to, like, do that. So I took everything in that room, put it in another room, because he was trying to hide that he was storing it in there. And then he's like, hey, does anybody have the key to this room? And I'm just like, why do you need the key? What's in there? And then that's my thing. But it's just, I kind of like it. Like, it's kind of like chess.
Oh, I had the keys. I was in Japan.
Yeah, remember? Yeah. Life's like chess. You just gotta get a pond.
I out people for their shit. If you cross me one way, I'm gonna make sure that like it's not a private conversation. Depending on how it is. Like if it's something that I can handle and I can be mature about, I'll just be like, hey, what's going on? But if it's something that like pisses me the fuck off, I'm like, okay, everybody and their mom is about to find out. There was this chick, sorority sister, right, that came up on Berks. I just so happened to lose Berks. So, and this was like, I moved out COVID. Like when COVID happened, I moved out and I knew I lost Berks. And I was talking to Lynette about it, and I was like, yeah, like I lost my Berks. I don't think I lost them. I think somebody stole them. And I said I left them in the chapter room. And she was like, oh, that's crazy, says name, came up on some there. And I'm like, you don't just come up on shoes. You don't just come up on Birkenstocks, you know? So I was like, she didn't like ever say that. She was like, no, she just kept them. So I messaged this chick, and I was like, oh, hell no, like, those are literally mine. And it's like a year's passed. I'm not even gonna lie to you, it's been a year. But I was petty about it. I'm like, no, you don't just come up on shoes. So I messaged this chick, and I was like, hey, heard you came up on some Birks that were in the chapter room. And she goes, yeah, what's up? And she's like, why, were they yours? And I'm like, yeah. She asked, what do they look like? I'm like, girl, you came up on shoes and you're going to ask me for a description? So I go, okay, they're, and the size. And she's like, well, I just don't think it's like a big deal. This has been over a year, some shit like that. And I was like, girl, you did not just come up on free shoes and act like they're yours. And I was like, so what? And I said something like, so what's up then? Are you going to like buy me a new pair or something? And she was like, I'm not even the only person that's ever stole things from the chapter room. A lot of people come up on stuff there. And I'm like, you're justifying after
that's a terrible argument.
That you got my shoes.
I feel like there's ways you could have gone with keeping that. Like, oh, well, why'd you wait so long? Like, that would have been but not
or at least like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. I've been wondering who's these are.
So what you gonna do about it?
The thing that makes me laugh so much about it is this girl like spreads her life as if she lives in luxury. Like she's freaking like over here buying like designer and like does all this shit, and I'm like, girl, you're gonna be mad at the fact.
I think
that
that's interesting. You, like, yeah, so many people do that. So one thing I always preach to my students, like, cause I teach high school freshmen, is like money talks, wealth walks. Like, cause they'll be out here like, you know, you get these little freshmen that are like super, like. Every little thing they see on social media they want to do. So, like, I have kids with, like, Dior Sauvage in their backpack.
What?
And they'll tell me, and I'm like, oh, you bought that because something on TikTok told you to. And, like, you know, I was called out. They'll wear, like, expensive stuff because, you know, the internet tells them to. And I'm like, and they'll try to flex. And I'm like, I tell them straight up, I'm like, I buy fake sneakers. Like, my Jordans are all fake. Like, I'm not going to spend $400 on a pair of Jordans. Like, I got real bills, right? Stuff like that. And they're like, what, for real? I'm like, yeah.
Can't even tell.
Exactly. And that's my number one thing.
I wouldn't even know.
I'll wear, I have some Jordan 11s, like the Space Jam ones, like the really nice ones. And they're like, oh, Mr. G, those are clean. I'm like, thanks. And I'll wait for them to give me every compliment. just to just be like, yeah, they're fake. And they're like, what? Just so they can't be like, oh, I could totally tell.
Yeah.
You didn't even know.
That's not what you said, Michael, 3 minutes ago. No. But yeah, I don't know. I always thought that's funny. Like people trying to act out of their credit score, I guess.
Yeah, and my thing is like, if you can't buy it twice, you can't afford it.
Is that what you said about Coachella tickets?
I did. Credit is forever.
I'm a firm believer in Afterpay. I am a firm believer in Afterpay. If I have the budget on Afterpay,
me and my new tires.
Dude, the way I think, like Afterpay
payment plans
is like, oh, like
I'm not even on that.
That's taken out of my account. Oh, that's not so bad. Until I realize I'm like, it's still gonna be like X amount of money. Like it could be a $200 purchase, and they're taking out like $50 out of my bank account. I'm like, oh, $50 is fine. But then I really had to think about, I'm like, Naomi, you just spent like $200 on stuff you probably don't even need.
The thing that gets me is like, I just committed to spend $50 every month. I'm like, that's why for Escape, I bought that cash. I was like, I'm not trying to payment plan.
You bought it cash?
Yeah, I wasn't trying to payment plan.
It's cheaper without the payment plans too, though.
Most of my festivals are like fully paid.
Yeah.
Coachella, we got
like what, 3 more payments?
No, he's December.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's still December.
Oh, I didn't know there was a payment plan on that one.
He really said, there's a payment
Oh, yeah,
plan?
3?
September, October, November, December, 4th.
Oh, September one hasn't hit yet?
Next week.
Kumbaya, my
They really said rent.
Venmo's gonna be in the description.
This is
How much is that?
100 and something a month.
A month?
Mm-hmm.
Damn. I could pay off
I
could pay my credit card
No,
with
it's
that.
bad. It's terrible. Don't
Honestly,
do it.
I feel like I would be crying more over spending $600 at one. Well, actually, like $700-800 because I got a camping.
But that would have been one. That would have been once.
But
that would have been once.
knowing that all at once, I'd have been like, what am I gonna eat next week?
It's like, would you rather get hit with the car once or get punched in the face every day? Like, which one do you want?
Depends how hard's the hit.
Yeah. Low key, I'd probably think like,
Come here.
wait, how fast? How fast is the car
That's
going?
child abuse, sir.
And what's my survival rate?
I made my kids do a presentation, and they're like, "That's child abuse." That's what that reminded me of. He said, that's child abuse. That was good. So yeah, guys, watch your credit score. And that brings us to our next sponsor. See, we gotta get like a credit sponsor.
That's my credit karma.
Yeah, not yet until they pay us. Send us our check.
For real.
All right, what else you guys got, Mrs. Suspense?
But also, from like being petty, like when I peep something and I know something is up, I will literally drag that thing as far as it can go and see how much can actually be told out of this one small thing. And then it's like I'll just end it right there and be like, look, I already know everything. Here it is. Here it is all.
But what does that do for your mental health?
Actually keeps me on my toes. You know, like sometimes I know it sounds bad to say like I love watching other people's drama because it's not my drama. But sometimes life gets a little boring and you kind of gotta like.
You can't make
it
that
up.
face. You're always up in everybody's
That's a
business.
damn lie.
You cannot make that
I
face.
choose peace.
You cannot like
I choose
act
peace.
like you're not
Yeah.
interested in being
See,
in everyone else's business.
You're thinking about old Cruz. New Cruz found the Lord. Amen. Praise God.
When did this new Cruz appear?
When you were gone.
I was only gone 2 weeks.
When you were out in the
lot
Virginias, I turned to the Virgin Mary and prayed, Amen, Hallelujah,
Glad
thank
to
you.
hear it.
Wow.
See, you know how the Queen died, but you know, because you got to think, how long did she reign?
You're like, but I didn't lose my queen though.
96 years.
Queen reigned for 96 years, right? But see, my God reigns forever. Amen. Praise the Lord. Thank you, Jesus.
Amen.
Yeah, right. Amen.
All right. Well, on to our next topic. So, if you guys were to be the opposite sex for a day, how would you spend it?
Let all the homies hit. No, I'm kidding. Cut that out. That's a joke. That's a joke. That's a joke. That's always every guy's first response. We always mess around with this question in the chat. You're like, hey, if you're a girl for a day, what you do? No, what would I do?
I don't know. I'll probably play with myself first. I'll be like, hey, look, I got
I'll tell you what I would do. I would get karma. I would go out and like, you know, entertain some dudes for a free meal. That's what I'd do. I'd always want to do that. I'll probably do that real quick.
I don't know. I'll probably try to find some dick and see how it feels for a girl.
Oh my God. What? You did not just say that, bro.
She asked, what would you do opposite, like, gender for a day? Like, you might as well just fucking explore.
You know what? This is a gender-free
Like, I was
podcast.
ready for this question.
She's like, I've been waiting for this.
So in turn, let all the homies hit. That's what he said. You gotta let the homies that like ain't never getting them though. Like you like gotta be the
Be first priority.
You gotta be the what is it called the pity like you gotta give it to charity. You know what I'm talking about?
Charity
Like,
work.
like all the fools that still got their card. Like you gotta hey let me help you out for a second, homie. Now, I don't know. I swear I don't know what I'd do.
I would stick mine in everything.
What
Like,
the fuck?
So okay, why? So why are both reactions?
I would stick it in a jar of peanut butter just to know like
my
what's
God!
going on. Like,
Oh
just,
my!
Why peanut butter? What the
it's
fuck?
Because peanut butter's so thick. Like imagine just like.
Why would you think about like shoving it in
I've been a
there?
man for 24 years and never once have I done either of those.
I've never even thought about doing that.
Challenge.
I've never even
That
thought about
lady
I don't
that.
know.
ruined the internet.
First thing I'd do is like, I would try to do the helicopter.
I don't think she knows how that works.
I don't know either.
I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
the thing with the thing.
What the fuck? I don't even do that. What the fuck? How you guys do that? I
Who
know.
said your thing's gonna be thangin' though if you're a dude? Like, who said you're gonna be thangin'? Like, you know, what if it's just
If I was a dude, I'd definitely be thangin'. Oh yeah,
I'd be banging that shit everywhere.
I ain't gonna
For
say.
sure.
Just lay it out and.
I ain't gonna say.
Right.
I feel
table.
like definitely for sure, like if I was a guy, first opportunity, like I would go be a hoe and be like, what does this feel like without being judged?
What you will learn is it's not as easy for a guy to be a hoe. Not as easy. You get a lot more no's than you do yeses. I'll tell you right now.
Really?
Got a lot less to lose though. It's only for a
Heck
day.
yeah.
For a day though?
Oh, so you think you're just gonna hop on the scene like some hot tamales? Is that what you're telling
I
me?
don't know. I got
Because I've seen you on the scene as a girl.
Seen as a girl. If I'm literally out here, you know what? I'm just gonna
Yeah,
take
say-
my L today.
Yeah. I was trying to set you up for that one. I was trying to.
Conversation.
I was-
I'm gonna just take my L.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you do it. So even when I win, I win.
Unfortunately.
I want to see if I can sell feet pics and how much money I can
Oh,
make.
dude, that's what I would do.
I want to see how much money I
have
can
a
make.
Story. I have a story.
I'm scared.
I have a feet
I'm trying to see how much I can
story.
make.
I've literally made 200. I made
This guy-
200 something. I think it was like
Let me see, let me
230.
see.
This was like maybe like 2 years ago. Some guy went into my DMs on Twitter and was like, "Oh, like, can you send me a picture of your feet?" And
Oh,
I was
what?
like, "What the hell?" I literally thought I was like, "Dude, it's one thing, you know, when you get like those like sugar daddy bots
Yeah, the
in
bots.
your DMs." I was like, "A feet pic person? This is gold right now." I was like, big bet. I didn't know how I was gonna orchestrate this whole thing, but it actually happened. So I told this dude, I was like, okay, well, if you're being for real, send me $50 right now to my Venmo account. Sent $50, and he was like, okay, like, what more do I have to do? And I was like, okay, what do you want with this picture? And basically, the dude was like, oh, I want to see them.
He said, make them hug.
Like,
He said, make them hug. Your toes are like this.
he was like, he told me, he was like, oh, like, can you put him in, like, really, like, high heels? Literally, dude, I was, like, looking everywhere in my closet, like, what's the fucking highest heel I can find?
When you only have Doc Martens in your freaking closet, you're like, can I cut this?
And I'm like, I have platforms. How good is that going to get? But,
He's like,
so
higher.
anyways, set it all up, made it look super nice. And so he was like, okay, how do I know that you're going to be for real about this? He's like, oh, like, send me the picture. And so I sent it, but when I did, I blurred out my entire foot. So, like, I, like, blurred the whole thing. I was like, here it is. Like, you can see the shadow of my foot and everything with, like, my heel. And he was like, okay, I'll send you the rest of the money right now. He sends me the other half, sent him the picture. After that, immediately blocked him, never again.
You
Oh,
could've-
no. Why would you? Yeah, why would you?
One.
So it's like, okay, it sounds like it's not that big a deal because it's feet, but still it's like, oh my god.
Naomi
like,
said if I did that for for $100,
It's $100.
what do you think I'd do? You said for
No,
200.
200, but yeah.
But I'd bust it down on OnlyFans probably. So yeah, on the feet pic thing, I think I would hop on that train if we're training genders for a day, or whatever you call it. I would be selling. Me and Musashi would be selling some feet pic. We do like a
What if y'all get some
collab.
crusty feet? What if y'all are those girls?
Somebody's
that
probably into
pelicans?
that. I guarantee you, somebody's probably into
People
that.
are into it. Like, you would be surprised at how.
But I'm doing some weird stuff. I'd like pick up a fork with my toes and like grip it like that.
Some peanut butter in
Throw
your
gang
toes.
signs like for the hood dudes on there. Like,
No,
which I do.
Cruz is like, and I'm not shaving the big toe hair.
It's like- I like braid it into like a trenza. It's like it's like a like cornrow it real quick.
I feel
my
like
God.
Cruz would be like, let me see your ingrowns.
I do have ingrown toenails. I just have a bad, so. Yeah, no,
Oh,
man.
it's so disgusting.
I don't be wearing sandals like that no more.
No. Have you guys like ever thought about like making OnlyFans?
Girl, I'm built like a fridge.
So
That's all I'm
I
gonna
thought
show.
about doing that, but like only making the videos of me like DJing, like and crip walking maybe. Like I don't know. but,
You're
like,
like these
Fuck.
like, the gems, the hidden
yeah,
gems.
yeah, maybe like oh y'all want some fire mixes and then this.
It's gonna have like a blurred pic, and then it's gonna be the Chris, the gitchy,
Oh yeah,
Hey,
it's gonna be in the back. That's all it is. Yep.
You know, like I feel like you would put like one video and it'd be like, what's that name of that song? It's like gonna give you a. It's like.
Oh, never gonna give you. Oh, Rick Rollin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nah, I don't know. I feel like OnlyFans. I mean, from what I've heard, it seems like it's one of those things that it's cool for a little bit because you can make some cool money.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. The people that I've talked to that have actually done that, because I have a few friends that like in college have gone into that.
Really?
They make cool money and they meet like one or two people, and a couple of them been like have like a sugar daddy from that. But I could never see it being like a long. They kind of just did it during COVID, and then everybody, I guess they all kind of fell off.
They get hella tax for it too. Like you have
Yeah.
to put it in your taxes.
Yeah, you just get a W-9, I think, or like I-9, or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Same. I hate when the government thinks that they can add on, like they can take from your money. I don't.
Yeah,
know
if
how
I'm
you
gonna sell
work
my
these
body,
hours
I'm doing it
with
old school. I'm just going on Belmont right here. No, I'm kidding. No,
You live on there anyways.
Why I gotta tell everybody where I live now?
You literally said it in your dog
Caesar
name.
Belmont?
Caesar
Oh,
Belmont.
they don't know what part though.
Little bitch.
That would be like that would be your like your other like stage name. Caesar Belmont.
OnlyFans.com/Caesar Belmont coming soon.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I like give props to people who do OnlyFans because that's like some real shit. Like, your whole like Vegeta is out on the internet. But at the same time too, it's like maybe if I lived in like a bigger city, I'd be down to do OnlyFans. But living in Fresno, like, such a small town.
You know who
that
I feel
whole
bad
small
for?
town is gonna see your whole
Yeah.
thing out there, and it's like, how much did I really like? You paid $30 to see my.
I
Vegeta,
feel bad
like,
for those
and
people
what?
that try to start OnlyFans and flopped. Imagine like you're like, oh, we're gonna get out the hood with this one.
I'm getting all my friends. off
It's
the
like a
cookies.
SoundCloud, like they are like, hey,
But that shit's on the internet forever now.
yeah,
Like
bro,
somewhere in the
like,
cloud.
You never know who freaking redistribute. Like it's crazy, man. But
I think I'm pretty sure people can get sued if they like take content from OnlyFans and like put it out there without.
but
someone's,
the
like,
thing is too
consent.
is like, okay, the creators, if they're not making that much money, how are they gonna sue them? Like, who's gonna take that
Yeah.
case? Like, I don't know. I just think it's one of those things. It's like you gotta be really down for the cause, and you can't expect to make anything from it. Like, just do it if that's really what you want your career to go. By all means, I mean, props to you, but it's like you gotta think where that kind of ties you afterwards. You know, like, look, we're scared to make a podcast sometimes, man. I don't know.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
imagine just banging it on the thing. You know what I'm talking about? Like,
Sabrina said.
I said.
the thing you dang it. Just lay that thing out.
Y'all worrying me, man. All right, anything that doesn't involve us having a sex change.
Actually, yeah. So I'm like,
Just wait
damn,
for
let me
it.
scroll down my list real
Says
quick.
survey says. I feel like Steve Harvey this whole episode. I'm
Dude,
like,
I've always wanted to go on Family Feud.
Story time! Story time! So, my sister's nonprofit she used to work for took trips to be in the studio audience.
Uh-huh.
So they all sat in the back because it was the Family Feud. We all sat in the back, and then the producer comes up. They're like, "Hey, there's one empty seat. We can't find anybody to fill it." And I'm like,
This is my time to shine.
I was like, "Oh, cool, bet." So we pull up to the front, and I'm sitting in the front row of Family Feud. Like, and I didn't know, but I was next to one of the other show's producers. She's like the lady like writing all the lines and stuff, and like Steve Harvey's literally like right there. It was great. And then so they film like 2 episodes while you're there. And in between, you know, he comes out. He's really cool. He does stuff with the audience because, you know, half the reason they go there is like to see Steve Harvey. He's like telling jokes, and then I'm being an idiot, just like heckling from the audience. And he laughed at one of my jokes. I swear to God, I was gonna cry. I was gonna cry.
I made it.
And Cruz said,
I made it.
That was the equivalent of my moment, yeah. And then they played a game. It was like they did like a trivia game with people on stage. They're like, "Oh, we need a category." And then I yell out, I'm like, "Things to put on a taco." And then the producer lady's like, "That's a good idea." I'm like, "Thank you. You know, I'm a writer. It's just what I do." It's
Cruz
I
like,
do want my royalties.
I'm like, "Do you need my card? You can call me." You know, I'm not local, but yeah, I get called in. You know, that's what I do. That's my business.
that's a flex. Honestly, to say that you were like the person that
Oh,
Steve Harvey was.
it was. I was gonna cry.
You gotta
Like,
put that on your resume now.
I was like, let me take a mental picture of this moment because they didn't let us have phones in there. Just take it all in. It was lit though.
Dude, I honestly wish like I could do Family Feud.
Your family, y'all already feuding, man. What are you talking about? Latinos don't need Family Feud.
It would be fun though.
We need family therapy, not family feud. I don't know what you guys are talking about. So what else y'all got now with us? Give it to me.
So we want to know. My notes are full.
She has a password.
you have a whole ass list?
Toxic.
What's a crazy memory you've lived through in your life? And not crazy as in like, oh, I went to the festival and had a good time. No, like, what's a crazy thing that you've gone through in life?
Traumatized?
Yeah. Like trauma dump here and now.
Damn, I got through my dad.
I know. I was thinking that.
Yeah, no, I mean serious. I don't have a good relationship with my dad, so I got through that. I think my sister's she's in high school now. She started as a freshman, but she's ready to like get out of that too. And so is my mom, but my mom's only here in America just because my sister's still in high school.
Yeah.
So maybe after my sister leaves by herself, my mom could finally go back home to Japan, maybe. But the reality, I don't think she's gonna go back because she can't do anything over there anymore. Like, there's an age limit gap to like find a career over there in Japan.
Really?
It's like 30.
I feel like Japan's like very
Japan's economy is ass.
like organized place.
Everybody wants to go there because it's a nice place, but like the economy, it is shit.
Oh, I didn't know that. Never knew that. Man, that's crazy, man. Well, I'm happy you made it through.
I'm still had to go through it once in a while.
Yeah, it's always a progress.
It's a good thing you're out of it for the most part.
Well, let me find a work visa and green card, and I'll be fully out of it.
Musashi, worst comes to worst, I will marry you.
And on the next episode.
No.
Plays the evil
Loved
sound.
ones.
If I was a girl, huh?
But dang it out. We'll dang that whole thing out. Definitely true.
I'm pretty sure I can do you a whole solid and get married. I mean, at least we have pictures from like years before. They don't need to know in what context.
Oh,
these,
for
like,
real,
pictures
huh?
are for.
Imagine. Shoot.
Yeah.
You have the whole picture of me in your room. They're gonna think.
Oh, the funeral one?
Yeah,
I found that actually when I moved out. I found it.
Is it up in your new room?
No, it's in the garage. In the
That's
gym.
not
What the
important.
Garage, in the garage in the gym.
They said, "Why do you have that up?" That's my inspiration. It's like me in a
It's
suit.
my-
He's the next Steve Harvey.
Yeah, I'm right. Yeah, I'm right. I think something that I could say, I don't know. I feel like, I mean, I've had my crazy stuff too, you know, like meth head uncles and like all that crazy crap. But I think one thing that I could say that like I lived through that I think was really, like kind of shaped me was like living through the 2008 recession and like seeing it firsthand as a kid.
Yeah.
Because when you're Hispanic on like, at least in my family, during like winter, summer breaks, you work. And like seeing my dad had a lot of real estate and like that and then the janitorial company. So I got to see that like go from like we're living fat to like it crumble.
Yeah.
That was a big like learning point. You know what I'm saying? Like everything that's going on now, I know it's all cyclical. So best believe there's about to be a recession. I'm about to buy a house right now. I already know it's time to buy. But I think that really shaped me into seeing like in business and in life you have ups and downs, right? And it's all you can't let those shake you too much. Like you got to just realize everything's temporary, and man, just move past it. You know, that's all part of it. I don't know. You're all depressed, but no.
Wow. Oh, I don't know. I'm like crazy experience. I'm like
She's like myself.
to myself and myself and just that. I don't know. I feel like definitely like getting dragged out of the house was like my craziest one yet. That one was a little insane. It was like I don't know if you ever had those moments where like something happens to you and then you're just like, oh my god, like I'm one of them now kind of thing. Like that's how
Yeah.
my experience kind of was, and it was just like one of those where you have like those mental blocks and then you like come back to realization like, holy shit, like I'm really living this, like this is really what I'm going through right now. And I feel like that one for sure definitely shaped me the most because I was literally like living on like high alert for like what, maybe like 6 months, thinking like, oh, like what is my life gonna be like? How am I gonna go like day by day? So it was like definitely interesting. Like that was probably like my most traumatic time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I think mine was the time that my ex broke into my apartment. That shit was insane. Like, I had just rushed. So, like, I was active, and I had broken it off with my ex for, like, months. Like, this guy had already broken up. He was my high school sweetheart. And this dude was, like, obsessive. Like,
I mean, you kind of broke into your house, so
yeah. So, like, this guy, like, I prolonged this relationship for so long. Like, I was dating a guy that had no aspirations in life, was super high alert on everything I did, but was, like, super sus with what he was doing. And then he would show up unannounced to my apartment. He lived in Bakersfield. I lived in Fresno. And I was working and in school. And at random times, he thought he was being romantic, and he'd be like, guess what, I'm on my way. And I'd be like, shit. Like, why? And I just broke it off with him. Like, I think joining, so some people see it as, like, I joined and was like, oh, I want to do my own thing and, like, break it off and, like, be single. No, like, I knew I was done because I met people that, like, taught me my worth. So I was done before then, but I, like, broke it off. And me and my girls had, like, group chats. Mind you, this is when I'm active. Me and my girls have group chats. I'm single. I'm doing my own thing. Like, my business is going to be in the girls' group chat. That I'm not, you know? And this guy, like, I knew always to watch my back for, so I never gave him any of my social media passwords. I never even gave him my phone passwords, because I would wake up in the middle of the night, find my phone, and look, and it'd be messages between me and him, and he'd be sending himself stuff. So I was like, dude, what's going on? And he would look through my phone while I was sleeping. So, one night, it was 5 a.m. I vividly remember it's 5 a.m. Me and my girls were texting until 2 a.m., fell asleep, wake up to a knock on my door. To get into my apartment, I lived at UV's. You have to get through
It's a gate,
you have to get through the gate, the front access, and then the front door to my apartment, to my room. Like, this dude was, like, made it in somehow at 5 in the morning.
Okay.
So I wake up, and I hear knocking on my door. Obviously, I'm not going to think anything, like, bad. I open my door. This guy busts in my room, turns on the light, has a backpack full of shit, and starts dumping pictures of us, gifts I've given him. And I'm like, it's 5 a.m., bro. Like, I'm trying to wake up, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing here? And he just, like, looks at me. He's like, we're done. I'm not even scared at this point. I'm humoring it. I'm like, we've been done. Like, why are you here? Like, get the fuck
Well,
out.
I'm happy you figured it out.
Like,
I'm like, we're
looking-
not on the same
Yeah.
I'm like,
I'm looking at him, and I'm like, okay, like, all right. And mind you, like, the last time I saw him, I, like, told him, like, don't ever fucking talk to me again, because, like, just whatever, something happened. So this guy's, like, going crazy as if, like, I broke his heart and, like, all this, and I'm like, okay, like, fine. This is normal to me that he's acting this way. I'm like, okay, like, get out. And he's dumping all these pictures, and he throws a notebook on the thing, and he's like, I was writing love letters every day so that you knew how well I was doing. And I'm like,
dear Sabrina.
I'm like, and then
My
to
dearest
add
star.
dramatics, he would, like, put an X on the page. Like, he didn't mean it anymore. Whatever.
so she was the female of the
Yeah.
relationship.
Like,
So he was the
no,
female and
I'm like-
she was the man.
I'm, like, standing there, and I'm like, get the fuck out. Like, get out. As he's walking out, he turns around and goes, and just so you know, your mom's going to be calling you soon. As soon as I hear that, I'm like, what? Run to my phone, 13 missed calls from my mom, 12 missed calls from my twin, shit ton of messages. First person I call, my twin. I'm like, what's going on? She's like, dude, he hacked into your Twitter. Looked at the messages between you and your friends, what you've been up to when you're single, what you're doing, screenshotted them, sent them to my mom.
That's a bitch move.
He literally
Okay.
told my mom everything I was up to at that point. And, like, anybody that knew me at the time, I wasn't the best. Like, I was doing my own thing. I was single, so, like,
You're having
you know,
fun.
add it
Yeah.
up. Just,
As
you
the
know?
guy though, like whenever girls do wild stuff, I never suspect that their mom cares because I always suspect their mom's equally as wild.
My mom just didn't, no, my mom didn't know is a thing. Like,
Yeah.
my mom, when I joined the sorority, she was not supportive of it. She loved me. My mom loves me for everything, but that's one thing she did not support, and for reasons like this.
Yeah,
Because
fair.
I respected her enough to hide that part of me. College was college, sorority was sorority. That side of me was private. So him sending her all this stuff, I was like, shit. So obviously I have to call my mom back. And she's crying, dude. It is 5 a.m. She's screaming at me, crying, telling me she's disappointed. She can't believe she can't believe that I'm like a different daughter than what she knows. And I'm like crying at this point because it's not the fact that like he broke it. Like it's the fact he didn't just break into my apartment.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't just like come and make this whole episode. He went as far as breaking my relationship with my mom. And you guys know I'm super close to her. She literally did not speak to me for 2 weeks. Did not want to hear from me, nothing. Like it took her that long to like
Process
what was going on. And even then, so, like, it took a while for me to build trust from her again because of, like, him telling her that. And he still had the fucking audacity to try adding my Instagram again, try adding me on Snap again. This dude, I would block on his platforms. There was, like, a Bakersfield group of, like, high school guys I went with that had a gym page. And they were mutual, so I followed them. They added him to their group, so I was like, okay, don't need that in my life. Deleted their page. He would stalk my Instagram from their page. So this guy, like, did not, like, stop. And
now he's like, been there.
When I started dating my boyfriend, this is when things started getting better, obviously, in my life. I felt like more, like, I started getting out of that scene, started, like, settling down. I remember this was, like, a week after meeting my boyfriend. He messaged me a paragraph, bro. You had to scroll, saying, I love you, I'm so sorry I put you through this. I did it because I care and I don't want you going down a spiral. He would message me every day. And then after, like, 5 days of me not responding, I messaged him and said, you ever try to contact me again, I'm filing a restraining order. You ever try to get in touch with me, if I ever see you again, we'll have a problem. Yeah.
That's wild. Well, see, what I don't understand in that situation is, like, I don't know. This is I mean,
like, why are you gonna tell her mom? That's like a bitch move.
Yeah.
Like, that's like, I don't know, dude. It's like,
yeah.
I'm gonna go tell your mom.
That just involves like someone
For what?
unnecessary.
I could
reason.
see how it's. I mean, I'm not, defending it, but I could see how it's like, okay, if I can't have you, I'm gonna just like cause a tornado as I like leave. I'm gonna make it so it's gonna be really hard to do anything else.
I pray you don't find peace if it's not with me.
Naomi has said that legitimate prayer. She said that one. Damn, that's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That doesn't sit right with me. Like, to make that much of, like, a big thing.
That's a good idea. Why next time somebody crosses her over, she goes.
No, I feel like it's a lot more different because, like, for girls, when you, like, go through relationships like that, like, you check out way before you even leave.
Why would you guys do that, though? I always wanted to know.
Well, it's like...
Like, is there, like, a moment where people will change?
Not to say, like, okay, like, it's easy to tell someone, oh, why don't you just leave? Like, it's easy to say that, but to be, like, living in it and, like, having to deal with a person like that, because every day, I mean, not gonna lie, you're hoping that, like, okay, maybe they'll see something this time around and they'll change, but really, when you're, like, with them all the time, you never really know what person you're getting that day.
Yeah.
And so it's always, like, okay, like, is today gonna be the day where I really decide, like, okay, like, maybe I might make my small exit and, kind of, like, be done with it, because at least, like, in my case, like, it was so much of, like, oh my god, like, if you leave, I'm gonna kill myself. Like,
exactly.
Fuck. Like,
exactly.
Well, I'm like, I'm pretty sure you're not gonna do it, but if I tell you, well, go fucking do it, I don't know what, like, mental space you're in that you're gonna go as far as doing that, and then it's gonna be like, oh my gosh, like, I'm the reason for that happening, kind of thing. But at the same time, it's like, when you're with someone who's very manipulative, and they know, like, what triggers you, and all of that stuff right there, in a sense, it's like, shit, when am I ever gonna actually be able to leave? Because it's always mind games, like, nonstop of, like, no, like, don't leave, I'll change, I'll do this, I'll do that, and it's like, no, I know you're not going to do any of these things, but for me and my safety, for that most part, it's like, I'm going to stick around and see how long this takes for me to, like, actually get the courage to say, you know what, like, that's it, I'm fucking done, like, I'm grabbing all my shit, I'm leaving.
And you care for that person for longer, like, I mean...
That trauma bond is real.
It is.
It is
like,
real.
It clings on longer than the relationship itself.
Yeah.
Like, it's easy to be like, I'm done, and then cut off, you're completely done. Like, when you're through, you're through. But when they're the ones that string you along, like she said, like, him, like, I knew I was done with him, and he knew I was done with him for a long time. And as he knew that I was, like, trying to, like, cut it off, end it there, he would be like, if I didn't have you, I wouldn't know what I'd do with my life. I'd probably kill myself. And that's not something easy to hear. Like, as soon as because then I tell myself, I'm going to be responsible to what happens to this kid. I'm going to be responsible for what follows. And, like, it's easier to string yourself along and be like, fuck it, I'll suffer. If there's no other, like,
other option.
Yeah, then it's like, I guess I'll be, like, the empty company. But for me, it made it easier that I was, like, gone. I was in Fresno, he was in Bakersfield. And when I finally broke things off, his mindset was, we're on a break. We are on a break. And I would tell him, no, like, we're done. I care for you, but we're done. And he would still show up to my apartment. He would still come. And I remember the last time I saw him before that, like, he literally was abusing me. Like, I was in my own apartment and I couldn't leave. I see his car outside my window. And he would be like, well, if you don't let me in, then I'm sleeping in my car. So I let him in. I tell him, please just sleep on my couch. I don't want you in my room. He'd lay on my bed. I would lay on my bed and I'd tell him, please don't touch me, and he'd lay on me. Like.
So I think like one of the things that like, what's the word for it? I think girls don't understand this. Or maybe you guys do, and you just choose like to take because it's a harder route to take. But I tell everybody, like, any text you, like, in those situations, like, I mean, not just you guys, like, this is a pretty common situation, but I feel like any type of contact you make, you kind of restart that clock of, like, them getting over you, you know what I'm saying? So, like, say they're calling, you answer one time, it restarts the clock, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I don't know.
The way I would just, like, my entire mood would shift whenever I would see no caller ID show up on my phone. Like, instantly, I wanted to, like, chuck my fucking phone across, like, wherever I was. It was just, like, the most annoying thing where it's, like, you try to, like, tell them, like, leave me alone, like, I don't want to talk to you, blah, 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 X, Y, and Z. They'll drop pins of, like, by your house. And it's like, what? Like, are you good? Like, what's the reason for what?
Yeah.
And it's, like, for me, in my case, like, if it wasn't for my restraining order, like, I don't know what my life would be like. I don't know what it would be like. Would I be dead? Would I be here? Like, it's, like, to that degree where it's, like, you can't even, like, fathom how much, like, some people really, like, enjoy doing this shit to someone. And it's, like, dude, like, do you get off on this or what? Like, what is it? Like, I don't think there's, like, really a thing where it's, like, oh my, you're gonna hold me to this and be like, no, this is the girl, like, I want everything with. Like, no, it's not that. It's like, dude, you just enjoy fucking hurting me.
Yeah.
That, and then the other thing, too, I think, for guys, at least, like,
I think it's just harder to move on.
yeah, it's harder to move on because, like, for many dudes, you don't have as many options. So it's kind of like, what's it called? Like, you know how, like, when you try to quit the cable, and they rather, like, they rather, that's what I'm saying. It's like that because it's easier to keep a returning customer than to get a new one. Yeah, ooh, that was a good analogy. Wow. But, like that. So I think most guys in that situation have that mindset because, to be honest, like, they had to probably play a pretty slick game, or maybe y'all just, like, you know, drank the Kool-Aid. But, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's different. But, yeah, because it's crazy. Because anytime I hear a situation like that, it's always, like, the girls are the most strong-willed. They hardly ever put up with any crap. They get looped into that. It's wild because it's like, you know, like, nobody's...
Well, it's because, like, in those situations, you don't even think about it. You, like, you push it off and you don't really think much of it until once someone starts talking to you about what's going on, and then you're like, everything clicks and you're like, holy shit, like, what have I been allowing? What have I been, like, saying, like, this is okay for me to go through? Because, like, for me, like, I didn't really think much of it until, like, I had some people, like, ask me, you know, like, hey, are you good? Like, I haven't heard from you in months. Like, is everything okay? I'm like, oh, yeah, you know, this, and that. And they're like, Naomi, that's not okay. Like, why are you still, like, caught up in that? And, yeah, it's, like, it's pretty crazy.
That's wild.
It's, like, a whole different, like, shift in perspective where, like, you don't want to see the bad in your partner, but then it's, like, when someone, like, kind of puts that into, like, perspective for you, it's, like, whoa, like, this is for real.
And it sucks because it strings on longer than the after. Like I said, by the time, like, all this happened, I was already dating Lethal. And what sucks is, like, a lot of those tendencies that I had in that relationship followed me into this one. And obviously, like, with the way that relationship ended, I was like, fuck you, I'm gonna do me mentality. And when I would try to pull that into this relationship, it wasn't, like, as aggressive, but I was just more so, like, I would walk away from conflict. I would be like, you know what, I'm not dealing with this, you can leave. And I think that's what makes me appreciate him that much more is, like, he knew my past, he understood what I went through. He would sit down and be like, I'm going to wait here until you're ready to talk. I'm not leaving, you're not leaving. Whenever you're ready, we can have this conversation. And I was like, I would cry. I literally would be like, I'm not used to this. Like, I don't know what, like, healthy, like, habits are in a relationship, how to communicate. So, like, all of that followed me. It wasn't like I know how to be in a relationship. It was like I have to grow into being a person that's ready for one. And with the way, like, the fast pace that, like, my relationship grew, it made me that much more better of a person, too.
Yeah, definitely crazy, huh? Dang, so that was our trauma dump of this podcast, and we want to make sure we all know we're human out here. So we got about a couple minutes left. What's you guys got a last one to end it on, maybe?
Go longer if you guys want. It's not hard to edit because it's one camera today.
We're almost pushing an hour.
So, like, since we're on, like, craziest thing that's happened to you.
Should we stop recording and him before it stops?
Nah, it's alright. It should be good.
Okay. And, like, what's the craziest thing that's happened to you at work? What's
I'll
like a
drop this
crazy
right now.
story from work?
I'm a name drop. When I worked at Plato's Closet, there was this bitch assistant manager named Esmeralda. Bro, this girl was fucking weird.
God damn.
This girl was so weird. So this is the type of girl that would like.
I'm scared to upload
Yeah, I
my
know. She was the type of girl that would try to act like she built what you are. Like, I would wear pink and be like, and I would talk to my friends and be like, yeah, I love the color pink. She would hop in and be like, are you saying that because I said my favorite color is pink? I love pink. And I said that. You probably heard that, huh? And I'd be like, what? Like, girl, and majority of any girl will say their favorite color is pink.
That's
Well,
pretty basic.
This girl went as far into her job to try to freaking make my life hell. And I mean that. I had friends when I worked there, and like my best friends, like we were like hella close at the time. And she would purposely, like, when we'd get scheduled together, she would task me away from them and then like work with them. But then when it'd be my turn to do her task, she'd be like, oh, you can do it alone. She would talk crap about me to my own friends. And then I remember our clique would like have like these little parties. And I remember one time hearing like they had one, I was getting invited to it, and out of nowhere they had it and I wasn't. And I was like, that's weird. So I ended up telling my friends, because they were talking about it in front of me. So I was like, jokingly, but like trying to get the tea, I was like, oh, but no, I wasn't there. And both of the guys were like, so then I went up to them, I was like, damn, that's kind of awkward. So I was like, hey, like, sorry, didn't mean to make it weird. Like, I know you guys are doing your own thing. He was like, nah, dude, I gotta tell you, you were the first on our list to get invited. We were hella excited to have you go. She came up to us when she got invited and said, I don't want her there. And they were like, oh, you guys are beefing? We didn't even know. She was like, no, I just don't want her there. And I'm like, at the time, we didn't have any beef. We didn't have any, like, weird tension. So I'm like, where is this coming from? When I would call her out on it, she would be like, I just think we need to keep this professional. I just think that. So I made it my job to make her job hell. Like, I literally would treat her like crap. I should have brought it.
That's like another petty story, huh?
Bro, we had a contract that, not the store owner, the, like, regional manager had to make a contract for us to sign that we would stop beefing. Like, we had to sign it, signature it all.
And y'all were still beefing when you guys wrote it? Like, some of you guys trying to rate the signature bigger?
She literally made me laugh so hard because I made her cry one time. She tried being the big guy and, like, take me to the back, and this girl's body language is like, I just think you're trying to compete with me, and I just think that you're, like, trying to boss me around. And I stood there straight face, and I was like, girl, there's nothing to compete with.
I'll be like, dog, we work at Plato's Closet.
You're a position above me. Why am I going to be beefing with you? Like, what is there to beef over? Yeah. And I remember she's trying to talk, and I'm standing there, and I was like, you're contradicting what you're saying. Like, I'm making her feel stupid. I'm like, you're contradicting. You're being hypocritical. And she's, like, crying, like, trying to hold it back. She's like, I think this conversation's done. I was like, good, because you're wasting my time. Boom, leave the back room. This girl's crying, being the big old baby, say, she's bullying me. I'm like, bitch, you're going to start and pick a fight that you cannot finish.
Wow.
Y'all ugly.
Yeah.
y'all looking ugly.
Yeah, man.
Okay,
I don't know, man.
I know Naomi got some work stories. I know at the Who's.
I will
The
say
Who's?
Who's.
The Wahos.
What?
Oh, so when y'all call yourselves that, it's cool, but Musashi says wow's one time.
One time. Anyways, I will say this. These hands are meant for everybody. I don't care how old you are.
Stupid.
No, dude, get this. So
18 unders are there or what?
What?
18 and unders are there too?
Even them too, the little fucking ankle
Eat for
biters.
everybody.
No, dude, okay, so last year during football season, so this is like towards like finals, so this is like when all like playoffs are happening, and the Rams are playing that day that I was working, and there was this lady there that was eating, and I guess like throughout her entire stay that she was there, she was like going around like grabbing people, like touching them. And like I would just have to get like so many like complaints of people telling me like, hey, there's this lady out there that's like touching people, like people are complaining, and I'm just like, okay, like I didn't want to deal with it, but because I was like the only other older person there, it's kind of like I have to take initiative and be like, okay, like I have to go play manager today. Like I don't get paid for that, but I will have to go play manager. So I ended up going outside because they're like the last one was like this kid was like, yo, like this lady just grabbed me, like she's been really irritating, like trying to just the whole shit out there. So I go tell her, I was like, hey ma'am, I'm really sorry, but I'm actually gonna have you close out and like finish your beer and get out. And she was like, why? And I was like, well, I've just been receiving a lot of complaints about you today with your behavior, and I can't have that in my patio. And she was like,
she said, my patio. She said, you need to leave.
And she was like, I feel like I'm being discriminated. Like, why don't you make them leave? And I was like, ma'am, you're the common denominator in this problem. Everybody has made complaints about you in the past 2 hours, and I think it's time you need to go. So she starts arguing with me. She's like, well, I'm not leaving, blah, blah, blah. So the long table that's out at Wahoo's, there's like a whole bunch of kids like our age. They're like, yeah, she needs to get out. Like, so they're like,
Hell yeah, they're all chanting.
so
They
they're
said,
like,
"Leave,
screaming
leave."
about, like, you need to leave. The people across that were sitting across from her, they're like, how much is her tab? Like, I'll pay for her tab. Like, just tell her to get the fuck out.
Damn.
And so I'm like, just standing there like, well, shit, what am I gonna do now?
Hey, if somebody was like, you need to leave and they were to pay my tab, oh,
Bro,
man,
no,
I'm
wait
a
for it.
fucking daddle.
Wait for it. No, this is the worst part of it all. She gets so angry, she tries to fucking lunge at me. Like, full fucking, like, lunge at me. And I, like, this is probably, like, where, like, the worst part of it all. I squared the fuck up. I was like,
It was like the McDonald's video.
She's like, I don't get paid enough, but I can pay these hands.
Literally, like, I was about to square up with someone's, like, 50, 60-year-old grandmother,
Oh my
like, out there.
God.
I did not care. I was like, you are not going to touch me. And, like, the person from the table on the side literally got up and, like, grabbed her. And they're like, what the fuck are you doing? So it was just, like, this big old mess. I had to call the cops. So, Fresno PD, you're a shit department because I literally called the cops to come get this bitch. They had the audacity to tell me, well, can you tell her to leave? I fucking called you for that very reason. If I knew I could grab her and drag her out of my patio, I would have done that shit a whole 30, 40 minutes ago. I was like, I literally called you guys for you to come do your job. I'm not going to go talk to her. You guys need to go deal with her.
I'll call her
And they
Andrew
were
Tate.
like, okay,
Shut the
we'll go talk to her.
What would
They
he do?
literally sat there for like 20 minutes talking to this lady, and I was like, so you can't take her out, you can't just fucking drag her out here. Like, I have multiple people telling you, like, hey, she's been grabbing people, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And if I knew I was gonna have to do your job, that shit would have been taken care of the first fucking lunch she did.
Yep.
That's all
Yeah.
funny. I think the weirdest thing I've dealt with at work, I think when I was working at Telemundo, obviously you have a lot of, like, you know, talent, like, news people and, like, weather girls that are, like, attractive. So whenever we'd go out and shoot, we'd always get the weirdest dudes, like, trying to come up and, like, oh, hey, I seen you on TV, and you can I get a picture? And, you know, that's okay, cool. But, like, one time we were downtown and some dude, like, wanted to take a picture. Cool, we took a picture. But then, like, he was sticking around in, like, a really awkward way where it's kind of like, oh, you know, we're trying to work.
Yeah.
Can you leave? And then he, like, took another picture and he, like, kind of grabbed her.
What?
Like, really weird. And I was like, yo, and, like, that's when I had to go to bodyguard
Like,
work.
East Side One came out.
First part
you.
of me was like, damn, I ain't getting paid enough to freaking be a freaking
Literally.
bodyguard. And the other part of me was like, like, obviously I'm the only dude here. Like, let me, like, you know, I gotta handle this.
Yeah.
And then, the dude got all, like, weird. He's like, no, sorry. And I was like, bro, you're like 50. What are you doing? Like, go, like, leave. And then luckily the dude left, but, like, it was just always stuff like that. Like, one time we had a dude, like, follow somebody all the way, like, from where they lived to the office. And, like, he was just, like, looking around the parking lot and stuff. And it was just really awkward. I just always stuff like that. But besides that, I mean, luckily it's been chill. What about you, Musashi?
I mean, my job is pretty simple. It's not that crazy. But the only crazy thing I'll ever see is, like, parents from opposing team will, like, harass players while they're playing. That's about it. Football games, I'll probably see gang members fighting. That's about it, but it's pretty common.
Oh, yeah, football games get crazy.
Remember
Yeah.
that? What was it last season when those like people
the one that went
fell
all over
brawled
Twitter.
out?
Oh, yeah, that
That
one.
was
Yeah.
crazy.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
Let's go dogs, man.
USC this week.
Oh, yeah, yes.
Oh,
They're going to get it.
yeah.
Never mind.
Anyway, well, all right, y'all. It's been the 5% podcast. Shout out to our 2 hosts for this week. Can't wait till next week. And as always, y'all, make sure you follow Musashi on TikTok. He'll be sharing a bunch of cool content on there. Make sure you check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube.
Premium? No, I'm kidding.
Hit up Naomi for feet pics. And besides that, y'all, have a good one. Bye.
Bye.
Woo!
I need to
That was
pee.
fun.
That was good.